They've won Tonys and Oscars and Emmys and Grammys. There's no red carpet because they're home in their jammies. From Melrose Place to Broadway to Janeway and her crew. Let Seth and James bring all the stars to you.
Anywho.
They're entertaining everyone, so who's gonna grouse? Just sit right back and you'll hear some tales on Stars in the House.
Of course, we're on mute. Welcome to Stars in the House.
We're in a new place.
Because we're in a new place. Do you see all that behind us?
Those are not my Tony Awards.
Yeah, any major theater fan will probably guess where we are. Go ahead. Oh, I know what Seth's going to do. He's going to take advantage of the piano.
Any guesses where we are?
Yes, we just had dinner with our friends Will Swenson and Audra McDonald and their kids and Audra's mom. And there was no way we were going to get back home in time to do the show. So, but Audra, so it's nice to have a 6-time Tony Award winner do the lighting and setting up the microphone. Mm-hmm. So thank you. And,
these are ASM.
And tumblers with water.
I'll tumble for you.
Anyway,
I'm Seth. Now we're reversed again. People keep saying that we're reversed.
All right, so you do that. I'm going to tell people we are normally here for the Actors Fund. And we are approaching $1 million, which I have a feeling we're going to do by the end of June. But today we are here for one of our favorite organizations called You Gotta Believe.
And you sure do.
And You Gotta Believe is the only organization in New York City that's dedicated solely to helping young people find forever families.
And by young people, though, they're considered older foster youth. So it's really both.
Right.
It's young people, but it's basically, and we'll talk about it, once a kid hits 8 years old, they're considered special needs because it's so difficult for them to find a family. So You Gotta Believe.
Punky Brewster.
Yeah, that's why Punky Brewster is the perfect show to help out You Gotta Believe.
Absolutely. And so we've been working with You Gotta Believe since 2015. And they told us that our concerts have raised over $2.5 million.
I know it sounds like fake dialogue. But it's true. They sent us this letter.
I don't know if I should be reading that, but I know Gretchen would say we should. So anyway, That's that. How do people donate? Okay, people. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. Because we're not at home, we are going to bring on. First off, we want to thank the 3 major sponsors: Charter Communications, Amazon, and A&E. But we'll tell you how to donate, but we're going to do that by bringing out Jennifer Pinder, who's the executive director.
The brand new one, right?
Brand new one. That's right. Brand new, hired during the pandemic.
You Gotta Believe.
Right. So she's nodding. Yes, she is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring out Punky Brewster and Cherry. And then toward the end of the show, the last half of the show, we're going to bring out the 2 kids and the teacher
from
Punky Brewster. That's right. Bring out Amy and TK and Casey. But right now, let's bring out Jennifer Pinder to tell us a little bit more about You Gotta Believe.
Hi, Seth and James. How are you? So good to see you.
Hi, Jennifer.
Now, listen, before I dive into You Gotta Believe, I have got to thank you for always being such loyal supporters of our organization and also just embodying the mission of the organization. We really appreciate you. I know you all won't toot your own horns, but you are the big reason why we're still around today. So I just really want to thank you. I want everyone to know how important you are to us.
Well, thank you. We love what you guys do. You guys really get results and you really do it. I mean, what I will just say for people who don't know, that when basically you get involved with You Gotta Believe, you always have them. So instead of let's say they set you up with the kid and then you bring the kid into your family, they don't go, yay, our job is done. From then on, you can always call You Gotta Believe. You can call at midnight and go, oh my God, the kid is upset about this. You can call 2 years later. He wants to go to college, but I don't want him to.
Right.
You Gotta Believe always stays involved. That's what I love about you guys.
Exactly. Once you become part of the You Gotta Believe family, you stay part of our family. We stick by you as long as you need it. Even if we don't hear from you for 5 or 6 years, you're welcome to come back at any time. And that's what we like to call our secret sauce. We support our youth and families indefinitely.
So that goes right into, of course, I was going to ask you, what is the mission of You Gotta Believe? I feel like you've already partly answered it, but go ahead.
Right. So we're very unique. You mentioned this before. We are, I think, the only organization that focuses exclusively on finding permanent, loving families for older kids in foster care. And a lot of people realize that they don't realize that you can actually adopt kids from foster care. And Seth, you mentioned this earlier, a lot of people give up on kids at a certain age. And so we make sure that kids have a permanent home. Every kid deserves a home. I'm an adoptee myself, so I'm very committed to the mission. I know you all are adoptive fathers, and most of the folks on our team are what we call credible messengers. A lot of them have been survivors of the foster care system. And we say survivors because it has been tough and they've been through a lot. And it's just so brave of them that they've decided to come back and give back, which is, goes back to the Punky Brewster story, where it's very full circle, where Punky went through it and now she's an adoptive mom in the new show. And we have folks on our staff, one you'll hear from later on in the show, Bianca, who's doing the very same thing.
So Jennifer, tell everyone how people can help. People, whether they're in New York City or outside of New York, what can they do?
Right. First and foremost, you can donate, which we're trying to raise a goal of $100,000 for Foster Care Awareness Month, which is May, and we're coming to the close.
Right.
So we're trying to hit that goal. So we need all the help that we can get. The work that we do it's very expensive. It's very difficult. We have a small team that works, like you said, around the clock, James. We have no 9-to-5ers on our team. So go to yougotabelieve.org and donate, or you can take a picture of the QR code.
Very fancy.
Yes, very fancy. We're high tech tonight. You can also follow us on social media. Follow us, like our comments, make some comments, share our posts, and then you can also learn about becoming a parent. You can learn about it. It's not a total commitment once you start learning, and you can decide what is encompassed in becoming a parent, and then you can eventually decide to become a parent. All the adoptive parents I know you can speak to this, say that they get more out of it, they think, than the children do. So it is really an empowering, and it's just a powerful a decision to make.
Jennifer, before we bring on Soleil and Cherry, did Punky Brewster impact you?
Absolutely. They're my contemporaries. I think we're exactly the same age. I grew up on Punky. And listen, I was a little Black girl and an adoptee growing up in small town America. I very much felt like an outcast. And when Soleil and Cherry came on the screen, they represented the two most important aspects of my identity. And I no longer felt like an outcast. They just gave me the empowerment and the validation that I didn't even know that I needed. And so even now, it's so full circle for me. And they also represent everything that the mission of our organization represents. So I'm thankful for how they so very thoughtfully and craftfully address issues of adoption and foster care and family and love in such a meaningful and thoughtful way. You can tell that they're very intentional about it. And it's just making such a huge impact. And I'm so appreciative of them tonight. And for the last 30 some years.
I'd say both the original and the
rebuild. Which, by the way, the new Punky Brewster admittedly had me crying ugly tears, but in a good way, because it's just so well done. And I really just appreciate the work that Soleil and Cherry and the rest of the cast have done with the show.
Well, Jennifer, after that, I have no choice. I have to bring on Cherry and Soleil right now because you have to meet them. Come on. Please welcome to Stars in the House, Cherie Johnson and Soleil Moon Frye.
I'm already in tears.
Cherie, Soleil, thank you both so much for everything that you do. And just watching you grow up, I felt like I've grown up with you too. You've been friends in my head. I just appreciate everything that you've done and everything that you've become, and for tonight too.
Jennifer, your words are the reason that I hold Punky so close to my heart every step of my life, every journey I've been on, because exactly what you said, which is it just means so much. So thank you for your kindness and for your connecting with us.
No, thank you. We need to get Cherry on mute.
I wasn't planning on crying before I even saw you, Cherry.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Cherry, I think you're muted.
You have to unmute.
There we go.
Just talking to you guys. I was over here too, Soleil, just like trying to dab my eyes. Jennifer, thank you so much for growing up with us. That is what this continuation is all about. Still being able to grow up with our friends that we've known our whole lives.
No, I appreciate it. And the way that you very seamlessly brought back the reboot, you did it so well and addressed all those issues. And I can directly relate to everything that you all addressed in every single episode. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please don't stop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, amazing beginning to the show. And I want to just say one more thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily, you don't have to literally adopt from You Gotta Believe. A lot of actually foster kids don't per se want to be adopted. They basically just want a stable adult figure in their life.
Cherie and I were just talking. We're going to talk about it toward the end of the show, but You Gotta Believe calls it a moral adoption. Am I right, Jennifer?
That's right. That's right. You can make a commitment to a kid without it being recognized by the courts, right? And so you're just saying, I am here for you for the rest of your life. And we're trying to prevent kids from aging out from foster care. And what that means is in New York, you age out at 21. And that means that at 21, you have no supports. If you're not connected to a family, you're just left on your own. And I'm a lot older than 21, and I still rely very heavily on my parents. So the expectation for you to just navigate the world on your own without a loving family is just, it's not realistic.
Yeah, because FYI, to give, what's the word, percentages, 50% of the kids that age out of foster care wind up homeless or in jail when they don't have a family.
Right. Just terrible outcomes. And it's unfair because there's so many smart, intelligent kids with so much potential. And all they need is that lifelong support.
So Jennifer, tell everyone again, before you go, how they can donate tonight. And of course, we want to thank the sponsors, right? So Charter Communications, Amazon, and A&E.
That's right. So yougattabelieve.org, once again, is the website. I know the QR code will come back. And then just follow along the screen. And then on social media, we're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jennifer.
See you.
Thank you for the incredible work you're doing.
Soleil, so cool to see you. First, you guys are so supportive. Hi, I'm Seth. Hi, Cherie.
Hi, it's so great to see you guys. I am so honored to be here and feel so much gratitude.
Oh, what a great way to begin the show. Yeah, you can see why we love You Gotta Believe and everything that they do. And okay, so there's so much to talk about. And so again, we found some great clips. I got some inside scoop from Cherie a couple of days ago about some of her favorites. So we got those going. But first off, when Seth and I were looking at the clips, what was the first thing you said, Seth?
I was like,
from the pilot of the first Punky Brewster.
I was like, how effing old are they? You're like doing dramatic sceens at like 8 years old. I was like, what the hell?
How old were you?
Who entrusted you guys to be the leads in shows? You're so young.
Yeah, I feel like I was like 6 when we did the pilot, right, Cherie? 6 or 7? Because I had my birthday, I remember, on the set. Like it was like one of our first days. And then we were probably like somewhere in that range, or 7, and then like 8 by the time we started. I mean, it was wild. We were young. We were very wise for our age, I feel like. And working with George Gaines and Susie Garrett and TK and these incredible adults that always treated us as equals and always were so kind and loving to us and never spoke down to us. They were really so incredible and giving us so much to work with. And then we were also able to be kids between takes, and we were on our pogo sticks and scooters and just being kids. And so I think that dynamic made it incredibly special and unique.
We're going to show a clip because I don't think people are going to believe how young you guys were. James, show this is the right?
This is when your characters first meet. In the first episode.
Oh, this is like my dream come true.
You know what, Punky? You're my idol. I am? Yeah, just think. You got your own apartment. You can stay up as late as you want, and you don't have to go to school. You're the youngest girl up by now. Thanks, Cherie. But you've got something I don't. What? Family. Just my grandma. And she snores like a buzzsaw.
She's crying again. So it's so funny because watching that, I mean, it just so much heart, that comes through. And my little ones, we actually watched it not too long ago while we were shooting the continuation, and the boys and I were watching it, and I was just tears like rolling down my face, just pouring.
Well, let's go back for a second. Cherie, it's so interesting because you obviously got the role, then you officially changed your name to Cherie Johnson. No, just kidding. Let's talk about the amazingness of your uncle. I mean, the whole thing is so fascinating how you got the role in the first place.
Yes, my uncle was stuck in the house with me probably a little bit too long. So he used me as a muse and wrote this amazing show, had no intention on me ever being on the show. But once I read the script, I was determined that that job was mine. So
she was like, you named it Cherry. Like, you named the character Cherry. Of course it's mine.
Right. So 7 auditions later and playing with Soleil in the hallway at every one of them. Finally, Brandon Tartikoff, who was the president of NBC at the time, was like, dude, give your niece the job. She just keeps coming back.
That's it. So wait, by the way, how you were so young that you took a script and you read it? I was reading like Dr. Seuss. What do you mean? You read like a script with a cigarette?
My uncle used to do TV shows like The Jeffersons, and then he did Silver Spoons, and he was often my babysitter. And so he would have me at Silver Spoon saying, if they say any words wrong, circle them or highlight all the lines that you like. And so I had kind of been growing up doing that. My mother was a single mom. My uncle babysat me. And you know, a lot of the quirky things that Punky was doing was the stuff that he was stuck at home with.
Wow. Okay, well, I have to ask, because we watched the reboot, and it's I love how Cherie, you're the social worker, and Soleil, you took up your father's craft of photography. How was it being back together in these roles all these years later?
Every day that I was getting to work or on my way to work, I had tears of gratitude, and we would just continually look at each other. And one of my favorite moments was when it was Cherie's birthday and we were in the tree house together all these years later. And Cherie, you can tell what happened there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna cry again. So Soleil looked at me and she's like, how do you feel, boo-boo? And I looked at her and I said, baby, I'm in a tree house with you. Like,
I'm here with my best friend all these years later in the tree house. Like, how does it get better than that?
And then I turned around and it was like the crew was sitting there, and the man who made our tree house was the man who originally made our tree house, and our sound guy is the original sound guy.
Yes. Like, so the mysteries of the universe. So amazing.
Yeah, I turn around and I look at the crew and I just bust out laughing. I cried and I laughed and I looked at Soleil and I hugged her, and I just had to tell everybody thank you, because it's like the dream come true that you never even realized that you wanted. I'm home. After 37 years, I get to come back home and play with my best friend. It don't get better than that.
Well, I love the opening scene in the new series when the two of you hug for the first time. I'm going to show it right here.
Is the coast clear?
Hold on. It's right here.
That was a cute one too, though.
That's coming up. But we're at Audra and Will's house, so we're on the little screen. I'm used to the big screen, and I refuse to put on my glasses right now. So it's this one.
Hey, girl. I figured you needed a hug.
You can stop hugging. I'm fine. But just a few more seconds. How do you always know?
Because we've been friends since we were 7. And you texted me last night at 3 a.m. and said, I need a hug and a box of wine.
You know, and it's so funny, because when you see that love between us, it is so authentic, because that is the way we feel about each other, like genuinely. And it's so wild, because when we first saw each other for the first time in like so many years, and I think we had just been hanging out telepathically for all those years, because it was like not a moment had gone by. The moment that I saw Cherie, like I was waiting outside the elevator, and every time the doors would open, I thought it was going to be her. And when she came out finally, I literally just burst into tears, and we gave each other the biggest hug that anyone's ever given.
But how did it happen? Like, when you got the call, do you want to reboot Punky Brewster? Were you like, am I being punked? Like, who came out of it?
I had wanted to bring Punky back for so many years. Especially just hearing people's stories, and you hear someone like Jennifer, and you hear, you know, the ways in which this show and Cherie and Punky and all of the people really connected so much to families. And so it was a dream of mine for years and years and years. And it all came together so beautifully with Jimmy and Jim and Steve and all of us. And it's been an amazing journey. And so it's been a work in process of heart and soul and love and tears and laughter for a while now.
Oh. And just going all the way back, by the way, first of all, I'm obsessed with the first name Soleil. Are your parents French?
Actually, they're not. I was born in the month of the sun and the moon, and there was the Annie, get your gun. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. And so the sun and the moon.
Oh my God. Okay, so creative. That's A, Soleil Moon. And second one, I know Cherie got it because basically her uncle wrote the damn script. How did you get it? Did you have a million auditions too?
Yes. And it was so wild, you guys. So there were so many auditions, and then I went into one of our final callbacks, and as I was getting in, there was another little girl there on the elevator, and she said, "You don't need to go in because I already got the part." And my mom was like, "Okay, honey, let's go." Like they must have like closed, and I was like, "No, I'm going in. Hold on a second." Like if there's anything anyone learns from this, it's like you keep going after your dreams. You never give up. No matter what the circumstances are, you just keep on fighting. My dad was a boxer and a civil rights activist. And, my mom was an activist. And I was like, I was taught at an early age that when you get knocked down in the ring, you get back up and keep on fighting.
Hold on. Who the hell was this little girl that claimed she had the damn role?
No names. I'm just saying that someone did.
Shirley Temple.
No. Okay, Soleil, I have to ask, the first episode in the first series, I almost feel like we need to show this scene and then talk about it, because I don't understand your level of sophistication of truly getting to the heart of what now we know because of our experience with You Gotta Believe and having met so many people who grew up in foster care. It makes me emotional even thinking about it and talking about it, because it really is all captured in this clip right here, so we can talk about it afterward.
I must be a terrible person. First my father leaves, then my mother ditches me. Now you're trying to get rid of me. Nobody wants me around. Well, that's okay. Because I don't need anybody. I can take care of myself.
I mean, come on.
I really believe that we knew the importance of this, and when I look at that, I think about the fact that, I was so fortunate to have, a family that loved me, and my mom was a single mom raising my brother and I, and working around the clock to try to support us, and really was always such a humanitarian. And so to us, this show was not just a show. It was about the humanity, and humankind, and that every family looks different, right? We all look different, and we all have our flaws, and we all have our messiness, and there's the family we're born into, and then there's the family we choose. And I think this is so much about the chosen family along the way,
That's it. But with Cherie, then I read that you weren't really thinking of being an actress when you were a kid. Then why is your acting amazing?
Yes.
Because my uncle gave me $20 when I did good.
Oh my gosh, really? He didn't give me $20 when I did good.
No, the anniversary episode. Remember, I had to cry both shows, and I was told that if I cried, he'd give me $20. And then my other uncle told me he'd take me to 7-Eleven and would buy me some of those jelly bracelets that we used to wear and a Slurpee. Yes. So I was all for it.
Hold on. Someone could offer me $20. I can't cry on cue. What?
Your acting in the anniversary episode is amazing,
well,
Cherie.
Well, in all fairness, my mother's my everything. And so reading the scripts with my mom, she told me when I got up there, just pretend like she was dead. And when I got to the headstone actually says Johnson, which is my last name.
Of course.
And then if I really was going to go visit my mom's grave, who would be standing next to me? my best friend in real life, like,
Right.
and she was. And so it was really easy to place myself in that situation.
And it's interesting that you say that about crying on cue, because I'm not somebody that can force cry either. And Cherie and I always say this to each other, that, there's something about when you're in the zone, right? When you're having such a moment performing, when you forget, you just forget everything else except for being in that moment. And that's when like so much of the magic happens, right? Because it feels so real. And I love also Cherie and I, whenever, we also are very honest with each other. So if we ever feel like the other one hasn't gotten what they really want, we'll be like, just do it. Like, come on, let's do it again. And there's been moments in the continuation too, where she's like, baby girl, you get one more time. You got to just do it one more. And I was like, you know what I mean? And, or we'll say this to each other. And that's such a unique, friendship to be able to do that, and then also we'll do one, on the more, on the scenes that are like us being girls, just being crazy, wild, talking about boys or whatever, literally then they'll let us do it, take for ourselves. And it's usually really out of control.
And we're really lucky with amazing directors who are not upset with me saying, can we get one more?
Yeah,
exactly. They don't rush us and tell us we have to go. They give it to us, and we really appreciate that.
Well, I want to show, we actually, because for YouTube, we try to keep the clips to 30 seconds or less, but this one, it was hard to do in only 30 seconds. So I think we have a part 1 and a part 2. But for the people who did not see Punky Brewster the first time, by the way, it's on NBC Peacock, both the new and the one from
now.
That's right, streaming now.
Tell us how much you love it, so we can keep going.
That's right. We got to get a second season. But what I was going to say was, watching it, people may not know, but your character, both of your parents had died, and you were being raised by your grandmother, right? That's for people, just to set up the clip. And so what had happened was Punky kept a diary, and she knew that you were a little bit off on this particular day, and this was the anniversary. And it turned out it was the anniversary of your parents' death. So here you are, because you and Punky went to the cemetery.
Dad, remember how you wish you had gone to college to become an architect? Well, that's what I decided I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm going to design big, beautiful buildings. And Grandma says I have a decent shot because I'm good at drawing. I miss you guys real bad, but you shouldn't have died. I needed you. And sometimes at night, when I'm in bed, I get really mad at you for leaving me. Because a little girl shouldn't have to go without her parents, But then when I think, it's not you I'm mad at, it's me. Because your accident would have never happened if you weren't on your way to pick me up from school.
Oh.
My God.
Thank you.
Okay, it's called an Oscar performance.
It really is. Oh my God.
We actually got nominated for an Emmy, but 60 Minutes stole it from us.
Hold on. How did you not win the Emmy for that?
Yeah.
The adults took it home, 60 Minutes.
Oh my, it just, the idea that we could be a part of something that was so healing, and that you could watch a performance like that is just so incredible. That people, that there was those that believed to take chances on what it meant to heal through laughter and pain.
Yeah.
And that's so unique. And then that comet right there in front of me. I mean, you, Cherie, my goodness.
For people to remember us 37 years later is a true blessing.
Yeah.
I know, but Cherie, now I'm curious, you only got $20 for that. It's amazing.
I mean, there's obviously a reason they gave her that $20 on top of it. I would like, my goodness. Wow.
Exactly. So Soleil and Cherry, we've got some guests here, but one of them we want to, if you want to take a little break, because we're going to bring your co-stars on in a minute, because we have a friend of You Gotta Believe's and a friend of ours. We met him in 2015 when he came to the very first of our benefit concerts on Broadway. And he's a city council member of New York, and he's the chairman of the General Welfare Committee. Do you want to take a break, or do you want to just stay on with him?
I'm great.
So let's bring him on, Steve Levin.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Steve.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi. Nice to see you all. I just want to, first off, I want to thank Seth and James, as always. I remember my first time I ever met with James. We sat in my office and talked for like 2 hours, and it was just about the great work that You Gotta Believe does and the great work that Seth and James have been doing. So I just want to thank you guys for having me here today.
Oh, thanks. Well, Steve, because obviously Punky Brewster and what we're talking about is foster care. I know that when we first met 6 years ago, you were very candid and honest and said, I don't know as much about foster care as I want to know. What have you learned about the system in the 6 years since we first talked about it?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is how resilient the young people that go through foster care are. And I've had the opportunity to meet with a number of them over the years. We do a foster youth shadow day every year at the city council, where we bring young people around with us. And this was an idea that we had talked about, I think maybe in that first meeting, James. We get to know their stories, and a lot of, and for the most part, they're older youth, and so they're telling their stories and sharing with us their concerns about when they age out, if they're not aging out with a permanent family, and issues around housing, issues around healthcare, issues around education, mental health, and it's been a really meaningful experience for a lot of us at the city council, because we get to hear directly from them and work towards developing policies that are beneficial or oriented more towards their needs. And so one example is that we set up a task force on foster care through some legislation, and as a result, we had this task force. And usually when we set up these task force in the city, they're like 15 people. They get together a handful of times over a couple of months, and then they produce some document that sits on a shelf. This had over 80 people participate. It was done by the ACS, by the Commissioner of ACS. He was at every single meeting that we had. This is Commissioner David Hansel and his team. And we came out with I think it was about a 60-page report that had an array of recommendations around education and healthcare, pushing for changes to the state law. One thing around increasing the availability of kinship care, so making sure
like Cherry's grandma, she's raised by her grandma. That's called kin care.
Kin care, and as a result, the city has really increased the percentage of youth in care that end up in kin care versus with a foster parent. And so, things that are, we try to move it forward. One big thing that we are doing now is this thing called Fair Futures, where every youth in care has a life coach that can take them through those kind of turbulent years and towards adulthood. But nothing is quite like You Gotta Believe in the entire system. And I don't even think of them as part of the system. You Gotta Believe is something that's kind of operates outside of the system, because they're the only organization in the city that is dedicated to making sure that older youth that are in foster care have forever families. They're the only organization that really does it. I mean, there's maybe I know COAC does it, but there's You Gotta Believe has really taken on this responsibility, and it's really been inspiring to work with them. And I thank you guys so much, because year after year, your dedication to this organization has been outstanding. And so I want to thank you.
Thanks,
So supportive, Steve.
Well, hopefully we'll have one in person soon.
I know,
and you'll be able to make it.
Yeah. And then, by the way, forgive me for my background here. This is I have 2 little kids, and so this is like the craft area that we have.
That's the perfect place. Are you kidding? This is the perfect show to do that with.
Punky's Treehouse.
Right. And then just one thing I want to say really quickly is I have a very good friend who texted me the other night because she saw the like one of the advertisements for this show, and she said, "Are you going to be on a call with Punky Brewster?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "There's nobody that is a bigger fan in the world when we were younger of Punky Brewster than her." And she said, and her married name is Fenster. And she said, "Did you know that it was Fenster Hall in Punky Brewster?"
That's
I did not.
amazing.
Yeah,
well,
so
please send my love.
I will. Hi, Debbie.
What's her name?
Debbie Feinberg Fenster, or Debbie Feinberg.
Debbie Fenster. Love that. I love you.
Thanks, Steve, so much for everything that you've done over these last 6 years. Really appreciate it.
And Cherie and Soleil, thank you for everything that you do, and for being here tonight and supporting this great organization. And thank you for really, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Wow, what a love fest! Thank you, Steve.
Bye, Steve. How cool. He's like the head of the General Welfare Committee of all of New York City. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. And being here with you guys is so amazing. I have to say, you are such lights and shining so much light in the world. And so thank you.
Oh,
well, my God, your art has created such great social change. I mean, all these comments I keep seeing is how much you've helped people. You know, because I'm wearing my sitcom shirt. It's my Brady Bunch shirt, but you guys have more depth. By the way, James, I just got a text from David. They're raising great donations.
Yes,
we're getting.
Go ahead.
I know. I want to go on right now, like as we're speaking, and I'm like, okay, do I go on now or do I go on wait?
We're getting such
go on now. Here,
keep them coming. Keep them coming, and I know because Soleil, you have an interview or something, right? So you need to go at 6 p.m. your time.
I'm good. I'm good until I'm with my kids. You know, they have something. But anyway, I'm good for a while. We're here.
Okay. So you just tell us we have to go.
We play things loosey goosey here, so we've got all these great clips. So you'll just tell us.
I mean, my children, you know, like it's so fun. I mean, they've been inside for so long. So it's like every once in a while, then they would take them out for a drive or something. It's a big deal.
I understand.
And by the way, I was going to say about people donating, because You Gotta Believe wanted to say how hard the pandemic was. Like, imagine how sort of annoying your family is, but imagine being with a family, you necessarily don't get along with. And that's what the pandemic's been for a lot of these foster kids that are not in happy families and they can't escape. And that's why You Gotta Believe has really been helping them find loving families and not just be in group homes or with families that are not great. So that's what the donations really are helping. It's helping these young people that have been suffering for the last year.
That's right. And we want to thank Charter Communications, Amazon, and A&E.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to bring on your co-stars. What do you think?
Yes, I haven't seen, this is so amazing. I mean, this is very exciting.
Are they still 10 years old?
I may cry. I mean, I've seen it's not me. I haven't. I mean, this is very exciting.
Cherie, you're the one who started all of this. So do you want to introduce them and then I'll bring them on?
I'm not sure who's coming on first, but I know we got Mr. TK Carter in the house.
Yes, we do.
This is like my dream. I mean, dream come true here.
What's up?
Dream come true.
What's up? What's up, baby?
Hey, I love you.
Hey, look here. First of all, Seth and James, I love you too, man. Oh. You two are just amazing because, I think about these two and Casey and Amy. I've thought about them from the day I did this show until it was over with. And they've grown up to be beautiful, beautiful ladies and mothers. And I'm just so proud of them. And for Seth and James, for you to take time out to put a show together like this is well put together. And talking to Mr. Katz today. There was nothing that was going to stop me from being on today to see these two beautiful. They're like my babies. You know, I'm almost about to cry. You know, because at a time in my life, man, when I was doing a lot of movies and a pilot came up to Brandon Tartikoff. He brought me to do Finster Hall. And he called me and he says, TK Carter, I need you to come in. And they weren't even, I was the only African-American actor auditioning for this part. It was for a white actor, no disrespect. And they gave me the role to do Finster Hall. And I remember Cherry's uncle, David Duclon, said, hey, this is a special show. We did that show and it's about the orphanage and foster home or whatever. And the pilot didn't go. It was a great pilot. Politics, for some reason, it didn't go. But I remained positive, and I got a call, and they said, listen, we want you to come on Punky Brewster because we love what you did, Brandon said, and we want you to be Punky's teacher, Cherry's teacher, and the kids' teacher. And I went into that role, and it's the best role that I've ever done. And I've done some things, but I got to tell you, these babies, man, they were babies, and they were geniuses because they know their lines the first day. It take me 4 or 5 days doing the taping to know my lines, and they would know it. And they would just listen. I remember Slade just running into my dressing room, just kicking me in the shins and running out. Scary. But they were kids. They were kids. I would bring my son to the set, and they would watch my kid. And this is like, Soleil, I love you. I haven't seen you. I love Mino, your mother, your dad. I mean, I still remember when you said, hey, we'll babysit Thomas. We'll babysit your son, TK. You can go out. I brought the baby over. They took care of it. We were like a family. And I love these two. And I'm like almost in tears. And this is special for me.
It's a love fest.
Cherry, there's 2 more people waiting backstage here. So
can I say one thing?
Yes, go ahead, Soleil.
I just wanted to say, TK, well, and we've got to keep this conversation going, but my heart and soul and the love that you gave us and the respect that you showed us as little kids, it gave me so much to believe in. And I've carried that with me every day for the rest of my life. And I love you so much.
I love you too, baby.
You light up the universe. Truly.
I got chills, man.
I'm crying really ugly tears of like so much love.
This is crazy.
And I really hope I get to watch this all back because I want to share it with everyone over.
I know.
Oh, honey.
I love you. I love you, sweetie. I love you too.
I love you too.
Man, come on, man. I love you.
I love you too.
I mean,
we have to continue the show so that you can come and be part of it.
Hey, listen, it doesn't matter it ain't about it. If I got to come there and do something and leave and come back, it doesn't matter for you two, anything.
Oh, I love you. And by the way, I'm so excited to follow your incredible career because it's amazing. You are just so talented and I
have a lot to be grateful for, and you two are part of me being grateful.
Oh.
Everybody is crying in the comments, just so you know. It's like it's relentless crying. We have more people that are crying actually backstage. So keep on crying because I see the tears.
Man,
I'm gonna keep you on suspense for a little while, but I know who's crying the hardest. So we're gonna just bring her out so we can see her ugly tears.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Her name is Amy Foster, and you guys will remember her as Miss Margot Crane.
And yes, you guys are killing me back here. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going on. I'm already a mess. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Amy.
Hi, TK. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long.
I love you.
I love you more. Miss you so much.
Love.
Hey, hey, what can I say? Hey, I was daddy to you guys.
Very much so.
Yes, and such a constant inspiration. I love like anytime you were there, just like the love that emanated from you and the honesty and the sincerity. And I was saying earlier that you always treated us like equals. You always did. And that always stuck with me. And that's incredible. Well,
you babies were little adults.
Sometimes.
Every last one of you were geniuses, and you were so professional. You knew where to stand. You knew where the camera was on. You knew not to go this way. And let me tell you something. You guys were knocking those things out in takes like that. The only thing that I was ticked off about is that I found out that Brandon the dog was making more money than me.
Well, okay, hold on.
He was pretty amazing, though.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you know what? I know we got to bring Casey on, but on that note, TK, guess what? I actually have a clip, and I don't know.
He's
not
kind
saying,
of amazing.
He's kind of amazing.
Sorry.
That dog really, we
would get his tricks for the week on Friday, right? When we get the script, and by Monday he would come in knowing them. It was crazy.
I always said this, that I should have fired my agent and got his agent.
His trainer.
Cherie, do you want to bring on your last member here?
Last and not least is my first TV boyfriend. He was my first love of all loves. Now his kid plays soccer with my niece and nephew, Mr. Casey Ellison.
Hey, how are you?
This is just. Wait, I've got to take a picture of this. I'm sorry, you guys. This is like my dream come true. All dreams. I got to get a group shot.
What's up, Casey?
Oh, my man, how are you? It's great to see you. This is what, 30, 35 years in the making?
This is amazing. This is my dream come true of all dreams.
Well, it's great seeing all of you. It really is. It's fantastic.
Oh, I love it. And I feel George and Susie looking over us, wrapping their wings around us right now, like having a cocktail in our honor.
Yes.
I'm going to have one after this. I love you, Casey.
I love you too, my man. It was great. Those are all my best memories. I love that show so much. People have asked me many times if I would, be interested in getting back into acting, and I've always been hesitant. But I always said I would always do anything for this show. Always come back, do anything for this show.
Yes,
we all got to come back. We got to do that.
Yeah, you heard it here first. So everybody needs to write Peacock TV right now, and as they're donating. First, they need to donate. First, they need to donate.
Yes.
To YouGottaBelieve.org. Please go on now. And then after you've donated, then you write Peacock TV and say, we need to see everyone back together again.
Yes.
You were all kids on the set. Was there one particular kid that was always pulling pranks? And I think it was Casey. That's my prediction.
No, Casey was so good. He was so sweet.
Yeah. I was probably the bad one.
Yeah. Well, Cherie, you definitely encouraged some fun.
Let me hear.
Cherie would go first. Like, we could come up with ideas together, but we could always get her to go first.
Yeah.
It's probably still the same way.
I don't think I was such an angel either at times. So
no, I think we were all on those like golf carts when we took them.
Hey, who was that school teacher?
Ruth Ann.
Oh, Ruth Ann?
Ruth Ann.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always kept saying, how did they go to school and then come back on the set and do their homework and do their lines?
Well, and the funniest was then we would go and we would be scootering around and we'd like run away to like Johnny Carson's like office and stuff. And they'd be like calling, like, we found the kids like over here. We have a location.
Johnny Carson would say, look here, there's 4 kids from Punky Brewster. Get them out of here.
We were hiding in his office one day.
Yes, we were notorious for stealing golf carts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. You guys used to take the golf carts.
Yes.
And then the security people, they just knew. Oh, it was Punky Brewster. We had Punky Brewster on the stage. We had Santa Barbara, that TV show.
Right. The soap opera next to it.
And they'd be so pompous and cocky and walk in on our set and they go like, wow, they're having fun and we're not.
Well, speaking of which, we found a clip. I think almost all of you are in this.
Yeah, they are. So Cherie had said one of her favorite episodes was Cherie's Lifesaver. Is that the right name of the episode, Cherie?
Yes.
And what's great about it is that I had to basically David and I had to cut it into 4 different parts because it's really all of you are featured so well, number one. And number two, it's about CPR. It's about the importance of CPR, which most people would think, oh, that is only for adults and not kids. But I loved how Punky Brewster incorporated, again, messaging without it sounding like a very special episode. It was just like part of the episode because all of you were so natural.
Yeah. And Casey, you're hilarious.
And Casey is hilarious.
And the idea was written in by a kid. It was an idea that a young person sent in for the episode.
Right.
Which is so incredible.
Why? Wow. Did the kid know CPR and need CPR?
We would have these things where, that was the thing is so much of our lives that we were experiencing. And I love this about David and the writers and the creator, literally they would see what was going on and then they would write it into an episode and they opened it up for ideas. And this was one of the ideas that came in. And then we would get letters from people that had learned CPR through Punky, through watching the show and through Cherie and through all of, just their experiences. And then they were able to actually administer it and save some lives.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Let's watch
it. So this is in teacher Mike's classroom here. Okay. So this is literally part 1 of 4.
You have 4 parts.
Okay. 4 parts. There we go.
First thing we have to do is find out if Annie needs CPR.
What she needs is a new hairdresser.
Alan, stop it. Okay? Just stop it. Now, class, how do we find out if Annie's unconscious?
You ask her.
Right. Hey, Annie, are you all right?
Why don't you kiss me and find out?
Okay, so that's part 1. Casey, you're so hilarious. Okay. We have to say
I gotta tell you, I got so much grief. This is probably the episode that people bring up to me the most. Because as we get to it, you'll see that all of my joking, it comes with a cost.
Yes, it does.
Yes, but the laughs were worth it.
So basically, Mike kicks you out of sends you to the principal's office, and then we have Amy and I think it's Punky that are working.
Yeah. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. Breathe. Again. 1 1,000. 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. Breathe. All right, girls, the yellow and green light went on. That means that you both did the procedure correctly. Annie has a pulse and her heart is beating.
We did it!
Congratulations, girls, because you just saved a life.
Yeah!
So all of that is good. All of that is great until poor Casey. What are you playing hide and seek, right?
And Cherie chooses a very inappropriate hiding spot.
Yeah, very inappropriate. Yeah, so here's that.
Cherie. I don't think she's breathing.
What?
Alan, you learned CPR in school?
Well, I...
Give her CPR now.
I can't. I didn't pay attention. I got sent to the principal's office.
Dear God, I don't know the procedure either.
But luckily...
I have chills right now, you guys. I'm sitting at the edge of my seat.
It works out. It works out,
Soleil. It works out. Here we go.
She's got a pulse, Punky. Her heart is beating.
She's breathing.
Where am I?
It's all right, honey. You're fine. Remember, you were playing hide and seek, and you got locked in the refrigerator.
You passed out, but we revived you. We did CPR. Oh, does that mean I'm
it? Now, Cherie, how often do you get asked about the refrigerator, honey?
Anytime somebody mentions Punky Brewster.
Wow.
Yeah. It is a favorite episode.
Dangerous.
It's incredible.
Was that snow, by the way?
It was snow that kind of scratchy snow, you know, that at the time I think they used plastic, you know.
And if you see my kind best friend, she's trying to wipe it out of my hair. So it's not on the camera.
Very considerate. That was a Challenger episode.
Yeah, well, and the Challenger, I mean, it's that, talk about an episode. You filmed that only a few weeks after the Challenger exploded, right?
Yeah. So the story. So I had always wanted to be an astronaut my whole life. I still have dreams of going into space. I'm determined. It's happening. I'm like, for sure, it's got to happen. So from the time I was really little, my dream was to be an astronaut, and we were all in the classroom together watching the Challenger when it happened.
Wow.
And we're so devastated. And as an example of them seeing what was happening in our personal lives, they realized that what we were going through, that so many millions of families around the world were going through. And so they wrote an episode about it, and Buzz Aldrin came, and it was such an incredible experience. And I mean, it was really, and TK, I mean, just, it was a really incredible, one of the most amazing experiences. Certainly.
It was a real Buzz Aldrin. It wasn't like a SAG after actor.
Yeah, it was like the real Buzz Aldrin.
Well, how was that? I mean, because we have the clip, but I mean, I'd love to hear from each one of you because you did film it literally the next month. What was it like meeting him, someone who had been to the moon? And then, but I can't imagine what it was like, especially in that emotional context.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I remember us all having a lot of questions throughout the week, and it seemed so surreal that we were kind of in awe for the first few days. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was general shock from the disaster itself. And then thinking about how brave this guy was, that was his job, was to go sit on top of a rocket and go into outer space. It's outrageous.
Well, I talked to Buzz backstage, and I said, Buzz, come on. I said, my great grandmother said, you guys can go to the moon. You went to a movie set and you filmed it. And I said, Buzz, look me in the eye, Buzz. I said, Buzz, did you go to the moon? And Buzz looked me in the eye and he said, we went to the moon. And I said, Buzz, let me ask you a question. Is that orange juice really tang in those pouches? And he said, no. We went to the moon.
And this is why TK was always so funny.
I'm happy that you asked that, because I think that's I think that, you know, my daughter actually, my 13-year-old recently said she got into a debate in class about this. And now I can actually share with her that you had the conversation.
I had the conversation, and he did tell me something. He told me something funny, but I'm not going to say it, but he told me something very funny. One day I'll tell you what he told me.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That day is right now. Go.
Okay.
I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question, Buzz. I said, be serious with me. Because I was stand-up comic back then. I said, Buzz, let me ask you a question. I said, did you play golf? Did you hit the golf ball off the moon? He said, no, but I did take a leak on the moon. And he said it went up back there and the water went up in there. So Buzz is...
Wait, literally? You realize, TK, that this, by the way, this whole special, you got to believe is going to literally have more, like literally, this is going viral.
Look here, the guy took a piss on the moon.
We would be recording this.
The guy took a piss on the moon.
This is okay.
That's why there's no black astronauts, because we ain't take a piss on the moon. There'll never be black astronauts taking a piss on the moon. Buzz took a piss on the moon. He looked me in the eye. He said he did go to the moon, and he told me that he did hit a golf ball. But he said, "Let me tell you something, TK." I said, "What, Buzz?" He said, "I took a piss on the moon." And he said it went up like that, and it just the little drops.
But is it gonna fall to Earth like Skylab? Like, are we waiting for it?
Listen, I believe that. But he told me, I said, let me ask you a question. Buzz, let me ask a question. Now, getting up there, I know was pretty cool. But what about going back? And he said that was probably one of the most dangerous parts is going back, because here's the deal. They have to go so far down, and if they don't hit the right spot, they go back up in space. They ain't coming back.
Oh my God!
Right.
They hit the heat shield, or somebody heat shield, and they hit it. And he says, TK, but we're so well trained that the odds of that happening would happen. So,
wow.
I'm not available.
Wow.
He asked way better questions than I did.
I mean,
I just want to put that out there.
You gotta ask him. I mean, we had the best guest stars to come on the show. So,
so what did you ask? So what did you ask Andy Gibb, TK?
Yeah.
I said, hello, Andy, come and say something quick. Do you really know how to sing, Andy? Or is it your brother? I think I asked Andy Gibb one time about Victoria Principal because he was dating Victoria Principal, the girl who was on Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Very 80s. Very 80s question.
I was so in love with him. So in love with him.
Right, here, let's watch the man who peed on the moon.
I'm sorry. I just didn't recognize you without your spacesuit.
Well, I would have brought it, but it's at the dry cleaners. I spilled Tang on it.
Are you sure you really came here to see me?
I sure did. Your teacher tells me you'd like to be an astronaut.
Yeah, but you know, because of what happened to this space shuttle, my friends think I'm out of my gourd.
A lot of kids at my elementary school used to laugh at me for wanting to fly to the moon and be part of the space program.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
So I have a friend who is my friend. Her name is Andrea Kent. And we became friends because she also wanted to be an astronaut like Soleil. And she has been watching Punky Brewster and growing up with us. She's actually on here crying right now saying, thank you for remembering the Challenger.
Oh, wow.
Oh, how lovely.
Well, thank you, Casey and Amy and TK for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you very much.
I love every one of you. Seth and James, thank you. Casey, Amy, Cherie, Soleil, I love you so much.
I love you so much.
Man, I'm telling you.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
Amy.
Much love to all of you guys.
Oh, thank you.
I know we'll talk soon. It's so good seeing you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, James and Seth.
Bye, Amy.
Bye.
Oh my gosh.
This is so amazing. This is dreamy. This is the best night ever.
Look, are you as happy as when you took this shot?
Yes, actually I am. Like seriously, this is going on next to my kids and some other really magical nights of my life. This is really going to be on the top of the list. Seriously.
Well, Cherie, thank you, Cherie, for arranging it. My God. And thank you, Soleil, for being available. So wonderful.
Please. Seth and James, you guys are incredible. And I'm just excited when we can all be in a room together again. And can we come back and do this again?
Absolutely.
Come on my radio show, SiriusXM. We'll talk later.
Yeah, we got to get Punky a second season. So we got to make that happen.
Please.
So Soleil and Cherry, before we go, one of the things that we love about You Gotta Believe is that they have youth advocates. And to explain what a youth advocate is, I want to bring Bianca Bennett Scott to the screen. So please welcome Bianca.
Hi, Bianca.
Hi, Bianca.
James. Hi, Cherry. Hi, Soleil.
Hi, Bianca.
How you guys doing? I've been enjoying the show from the background. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
So good to talk to you.
So Bianca, tell everyone yours.
I know, same hairstyle.
Yeah, you do. Oh, hold on, we got to move them next to each other. Come on, here, let's go. Right here. Compare, contrast.
Oh my
here.
God.
There we go.
Yes, with the bun.
Bianca, how did you get involved with You Gotta Believe and whatever?
So how old are you right now?
Yeah.
Are you 21?
So I'm 23.
That's close.
You're very close. But whatever you want to share of your story and your own story and why you got involved and why You Gotta Believe is important. It's all yours.
Yes. So, like I said, my name is Bianca Bennett Scott. I actually was a part of the New York foster care system. I was entered into the foster care system at the age of 2. I was placed back with my mother at 3 and re-entered at 13 until I aged out at 21. So the reason why I'm so gung-ho about You Gotta Believe is because during my foster care experience, I really struggled. I was one of those kids who was just really quiet sometimes, and I was really stuck in my books, but I was going through a lot of trauma, and I really didn't understand what was going on. And now that I'm looking at the Punky Brewster story show, it's just like, wow, like they were explaining a lot of things before my time, and it kind of related to everything that I was going through. So I just went through the foster care system, and my grandmother became my guardian. And then when I aged out at 21, I'm like, hey, I could be independent. I could do whatever I want. And then a month later, my grandmother passed away. So it was really hard for me. That's why I could really connect with that scene, Cherie, because I remember just feeling that same way. Like, how am I supposed to make it by myself as a little girl? And although I was 21 and people didn't think I was little, I felt like a little girl. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't have anybody to rely on. And it wasn't until I college and I met my vice president of my college, and she invited me over. We had dinner and I met her husband. And from that moment on, it just became an instant connection. And now at 23, I'm actually about to be adopted by those same people. So I'm really excited for that experience. So that's why I'm really excited to watch the Punky Brewster story, because adoption is everything. And being 23, I never thought that it could be possible. I'm just so happy that it is. So the reason I work for You Gotta Believe is because I want to do what the story that happened for me deserves to happen for all the youth that go through care. It doesn't matter how old you are. Anybody deserves family. Everyone deserves family, especially foster youth. So that's why I go so hard for the youth I work with, because I've been through it and I want to make sure that they don't have to go through all the things that I went through. And I'm going to make sure I'm there for them, just like how Cherie was there for Soleil and how the new story is now.
Amazing.
That is so beautiful.
That's so wonderful. And what I want to just say is what Bianca's talking about is that it's not necessarily adoption per se. They need just an adult to help them and guide them. It's like, imagine when you're in college and you're asking, what courses should I take? Or where do I go home for Thanksgiving? Where do I go home for Christmas? Like, people just need adults in their life to help them. So how cool that your vice president, how did your vice president connect with you?
So it's a funny story. So I actually almost got kicked out of school.
That's not funny. Okay.
And I went to her office and I was telling her this bunghole story about what happened. And she knew I was lying. And it was just crazy, because although she knew I was lying and I thought I was a bad kid, she was always there for me. She was always there for me. And it was when my grandmother passed and they came to my grandmother's funeral. It was just like, who are these people? Like, they could have just forgot about me once I graduated, but they didn't. And I remember I was going out one time with my mom and we were driving, and like some lady asked her, she was like, you are so beautiful. You look just like, she was like, you are just so beautiful. And she was like, is that your daughter? And I was like, oh no, like, I'm not her daughter. And she was like, yeah, that's my daughter. I'm her mom. And it was just so crazy, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, she really called me her daughter. And from then on, it's just been an instant connection with my parents. I'm so grateful for them, because I could have turned out a whole different way as soon as I lost my grandmother. I was kind of like Cherie in that scene, crying, bawling my eyes out. I didn't know what to do. And because I had that unconditional support and love from my parents, because they're my parents, I'm just so happy I have them. So yeah.
So inspiring. Well, this is actually a nice time. Cherie, why don't you make everyone really excited, because you have some donations to read. We can hear what's been happening tonight.
I just got an amazing email, and I want to let everybody know that every penny counts, okay? And we really appreciate it. Michelle Carroll, $250. Sabrina Glaser, $250. Amber Williams, $2,000. John and Amina Wilkes, $2,500. Juan Battle, $2,000. Michael, I hope I say your name right, Bugatti is $100. He said, thank you, Seth and James, for the important work that you're doing with the foster youth. AC Turner, $100. Annie, Ellen, and Nicole Green, $25. Thank you so much for these donations. We so appreciate you. And y'all gonna be getting mine after the show when I stop crying. I have a question. So I don't live in New York, right? How can we mentor a kid being so far away? Because mentoring can be done over the telephone or over Zoom or any way. I would love to make sure that a kid knows that I love them and I'm there for them.
I'm going to ask Jennifer that question. Jennifer, maybe you have somewhere we can connect.
Come on, JP.
Me too.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're on
Jennifer. Of course.
You're still on mute. A lot of sass.
My makeup is gone because I've been crying the whole.
I know.
But absolutely, just go to our website, get in contact with us, and no matter where you are, as you said, Cherie, we will connect you with someone that you can mentor. No matter where you are, we can find a way for you to be a support. So I appreciate you asking that question.
Yeah, I'm in too. Let's do it.
I was gonna volunteer her, but
I'm volunteering myself. I'm wondering, like, Cherie, wouldn't it be fun, like, you and I could mentor like different people together also? Like, we could we could have a lot of fun doing that too.
Yes, and after COVID, like, they need to come and visit the set.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We will make it happen.
Name five of our youth right now we work with who would be so excited.
Yes.
This is thrilling.
I have a question. How could also young people, my daughter's ages that are really focused on community service and being of service to others, ways that they can get involved? Do you have mentorship programs for teens as well, that young people can get involved too?
Well, it varies throughout the year, Soleil. We launch different programs depending on what's happening during the time. So it's really good. You just got to log into the website to see what's happening. So
amazing. I know they would be like thrilled to also be a support system too.
We love that.
Help, especially with like youth who aren't in the foster care system, is just being informed and informing people about the foster care system.
Yeah.
You don't know how many people really don't know what goes on in foster care. So just having people share those experiences and share what it means, it really does a lot of work for us.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of unawareness about the foster care system. And, I just recently adopted our daughter because I raised her since she was,
I had adopted Julie legally when she was 5, and Seth and I got married when she was 12. And so he was stepdad, but he didn't actually legally adopt her until during the pandemic.
And she's 20. And thank you. But a lot of people are like, why adopt so old? But it really does make a difference. It's sort of like getting married. We were together for a long time until we got married. But once we were married, I really felt like, oh, we're actually connected. We're actually a unit. And it's the same thing with a young person when their parent is officially adopting them or officially saying, I'm always going to take care of you. It really makes a difference. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of that. So it's not just babies that need adoption. It's basically any age.
And Bianca, to your point, I totally agree with you. It is about, because Soleil was asking about what her kids could do. It is about education, because it's interesting that our friends who have known about You Gotta Believe and about how no one ages out and how important their mission is, some people very innocently asked, Seth, why are you adopting Julie? She's 20 and you've already raised her, but they didn't quite understand. And so it's always like educating people and letting them know. And so if it comes up naturally in a conversation, to maybe correct people gently and say, well, that's not exactly right, and give them information.
Exactly.
I love that. I never thought about kids getting involved with You Gotta Believe. It's such a great idea, Soleil. I love that.
Okay. The girls are so passionate, and so are the boys, about being of service to others. I really think it's one of the greatest gifts that we can give to our youth is to ingrain that in them from such an early age. And Cherie and I and our kids are, constantly figuring out ways that they want to get involved. And so, I would love to be able to.
And we do have one way that kids are active in New York is we have, there's the Calhoun School in New York. And so they write letters for us to the New York City Council. They write letters. So that's another way that kids can get involved, and they're becoming educated. So there are many ways that kids can get involved. Kids are so much better with social media than I am. So sharing our posts, that's one very easy way.
Yeah, social media. Let the TikToks begin. All right, so we're gonna show. I think we should show Stephanie Mills, right?
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna end with a song that's from one of our concerts from several years ago,
from Broadway.
From when we did our annual show on Broadway, and it began with Rosie Perez, who grew up in foster care.
A lot of people don't know that she grew up in foster care, but she did.
Read her book. Her book is amazing.
Amazing.
And she had talked on stage about her experience. Now, here's the thing. Rosie is a very good friend, and so we're not talking out of school. But we were together earlier that day. This is on September 12th, 2016, and she had left her speech at home. She had and her husband he's an artist, and he had gone upstate, so she had no way to get into the house. So she goes and she writes it, and it's spontaneous, and it was like a 20-minute, beautiful, basically extemporaneous speech. she had told us previously that one of the most transformative experiences of her life was seeing Stephanie Mills in The Wiz on Broadway, and how that helped her get through hard times.
Cherie too. I love it.
And so,
well, and basically,
yeah, go ahead,
just
Seth.
more. I mean, you read about it in the book, but she was very despondent. She'd been very abused, and she basically was feeling suicidal. And she said, like, you've got to give me some kind of hope, God, to keep me alive. And she began singing Home. If you're listening, God, please don't make it hard. And it kind of gave her the will to live. And bizarrely, right after that, she got adopted by her aunt.
Yes, she went and lived with her aunt.
It kind of saved her life. So after she told that amazing speech, who did we bring out but Stephanie Mills?
Now, and by the way, what you're about to see, Rosie had not, we purposely kept her out of the rehearsal. And so when you see Rosie come on stage, just imagine Stephanie's coming onto the Broadway stage, Seth is playing piano and conducting, and I'm in the wings of this Broadway theater with Rosie, and Rosie goes out on stage. And if you watch closely, you'll see Rosie mouthing the words to Home while Stephanie sings to her. None of this was scripted. When you see what you see, none of that was scripted. It was all spontaneous because of just the love and the message. So we're going to play that. It's a beautiful way to end the show, and we'll come back and say goodbye. And but here it is, because I know that all of you will love it.
I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes the tall grass bend into me, suddenly the raindrops that fall may have a name, sprinkling the sea, makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It sure would be nice to be back at home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time, in your life to grow up. Time, come on, be Rosie's friend. Let her start again. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I still know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, yet I watched it grow. God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we try and stay, or should we run away, or would it be better just to let things be? Living here in this wonder world might be all fantasy. So it's real, real, real. Don't mean I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love like yours, like mine.
Ugly tears.
Amazing.
I have a quick story about the Wiz and Stephanie Mills. My mother was a single mother. She saved her money and took me to New York. She bought me a new dress and a new coat. And I'll never forget sitting on the corner, and I was telling my mom this story not long ago. And I was eating a hot dog in New York, and we were going to see a play on Broadway. And my mom said we were eating hot dogs because I couldn't afford anything else. I bought you the tickets. And so I remember walking out, and my mom said, "Did you like it?" And I said, "Mommy, I could do that." Mind you, I can't sing a lick, right? So I couldn't do that. But I remember saying, "Mommy, I can do that." And she said to me, "You will one day, baby. You will." And it was before Punky.
Whoa.
So y'all just took me over the top. Plus, I'm a little black and Puerto Rican girl, so seeing her with Rosie Perez was everything.
Oh my God! Of course.
Thank you for sharing that, Cherie.
Oh my God. Y'all done took me out tonight. I'm having to go take a nap.
I mean, thank you for lighting up the way that you each do. And spreading the love and the incredible work that you're doing.
Yes, Jennifer and Bianca and Seth and James, thank you so much for having us. I think this was more important for Soleil and I.
Truly, you've given us an incredible gift.
It's a dream come true for You Gotta Believe, and selfishly for me. So we so appreciate you, and Seth and James, of course. Thank you.
Thank you all.
What a great.
My heart is so full of gratitude beyond words.
Thank you for all the beautiful work you did since you guys were children, and now you're doing it again. It's so thrilling.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone. And of course, we want to thank Charter Communications, Amazon, and A&E. Please donate. YouGottaBelieve.org to learn about the organization even more, as well as donate. Thank you, Soleil. Thank you, Cherie. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you,
so much. Thank you for the incredible work you're doing, and keep it going.
Yes.
And let's all donate right now.
StartsMass.com.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, you guys.
I think Seth's going to go to the piano. Yes.